Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the seventh edition of Hood of Chat series. Woo! I'm really excited, especially about this one and about our guest and everything we are going to be discussing. Thank you so much for joining us. I can see that Godwin, Iboro, Megan, Nasir, Uka, I've seen you about the congregation. Omotolani, Steven, Zen Master have all joined us. Thank you so much for joining us. Let's just give the rest of the guys that really want to be here a minute or two to join us, and we'll just get the ball rolling. But while we are waiting for them, can you just drop a message in the chat box telling us which city you're joining us from? We'd like to hear. In our previous editions, we've had people joining us from different cities across different countries, both within Africa and outside of Africa. So just drop a message and let's see. Last time we had people from Lagos, we had people from different parts of Scotland. We had someone even from Cameroon. So we want to see where you're all coming in from, joining us from. Amazing. Wow. Umi is from Lagos. Zen Master is joining us from London. Amazing. Uka is joining us from Abuja, Nigeria. Woohoo! Arena is joining us from Mombasa in Kenya. Amazing. And of course, Hasnat is joining us from Ibadan. I like to call Ibadan IB. Wow, Nasir is joining us from south of France. Imagine, that's amazing. Sukome is joining us from Lagos. Oh, fantastic. Oh, great. And Nairobi is here. Wow, this is a global event. This is definitely a global event. Welcome. Iboro is joining us from Uyo in Akwa Ibom State, Nigeria. Welcome, Iboro. Let's just keep the locations coming. This is really interesting. We're going to be having our special guest, Sunday Akibe, who is a senior cybersecurity consultant with White Hat Consults, speaking to us about social engineering and man-in-the-middle attacks. So I can't wait to hear from him, but I really want to hear from you first because we are having this event because of you. So I want to hear the other cities everyone else is coming from. This is amazing. This is just beautiful. Wow. Okay, Sandra is joining us from Lagos, Nigeria. Sandra literally messaged me and said she will not miss this event for anything in the world. That is amazing, and I'm very excited to see her today. So let's just keep introducing ourselves from wherever we are joining this event from. And we'll be starting in a jiffy. Okay, great. So let's get started. Like I said, this is the seventh edition of Hood of Chat series. It's a weekly webinar series by No Go For Maga. No Go For Maga is a child of CyberSafe Foundation. When I say child, it's literally an initiative of CyberSafe Foundation. CyberSafe Foundation is a not-for-profit organization that is driving pockets of change to create a safer community for every one of us in Nigeria. And No Go For Maga is the first of its many initiatives. No Go For Maga on its own is a movement of young people coming together to catalyze the decline of digital fraud in Nigeria. And how are we doing this? We're doing this by driving awareness about how digital fraud gets to happen. And of course, arming the citizenry, which is digital citizens here, with the information they require to protect themselves, the information and the knowledge they need to protect themselves. So that is what we're all about. And that's why this webinar is one of the several ways which we do what we do. We are able to create awareness through engaging content like this one. So in today's webinar, we're going to be discussing social engineering and man-in-the-middle attacks. And just to give you a brief about what it's about, we know that while organizations and individuals take steps to ensure their safety during these times, threat actors, on the other hand, of all stripes, continue to take advantage of COVID-19 and the coronavirus situation. Never wants to miss an opportunity, of course. Attackers are ramping up operations to compromise their targets, which could be you if you do not take precaution. But that's why this webinar is important, and that's why you've made it so fantastic. Congratulations for coming here. And the favorite technique of cyber criminals, which has been used in the past and is popular, is the man-in-the-middle attack. We're going to get to know what man-in-the-middle attack is, so don't fret about what it means. Yes. According to IBM's X-Force Threat Intelligence Index in 2019, more than 1/3 of exploitation of inadvertent weaknesses involved man-in-the-middle attacks. Hence, the 7th episode in this series seeks to explore the ways malicious actors use man-in-the-middle attacks in conjunction with social engineering. Like the two of them together, they're a force. I want to unravel what it is about them and how we can protect ourselves in this webinar. In this webinar, we will provide clarity on man-in-the-middle attacks by explaining what man-in-the-middle attack is, briefly describing types of man-in-the-middle attacks, which of course could be email hijacking, Wi-Fi eavesdropping, stealing browser cookies, spoofing, SSL hijacking. Now, if that sounds like French to you, just sit tight. We're going to break this all down and make it as simple as possible. And if you have any questions, the chat box is your friend. Just drop your messages there, drop your questions there, and we're going to address them one after the other, missing nothing. And I trust Stephen to do justice to everything here, every question you have on your mind. Now, briefly, we'll be describing ways social engineering can be used in man-in-the-middle attacks, such as sending phishing emails and spoofing. We'll also have Stephen talk to us about ways to protect against man-in-the-middle attacks. And then we're going to have a show and tell as usual for our event. We're going to have a show and tell demo of a man-in-the-middle attack, such as ARP spoofing, bypassing HTTPS, session hijacking, DNS spoofing, or keylogging using man-in-the-middle framework and other man-in-the-middle tools. Again, like I said, if this sounds like French to you, don't fret. We are going to break it all down. Okay, and to do that is no one else than Sunday. I'm so sorry, it's not Stephen. Sunday Akibe, who is a great consultant. He's a specialist. He's a cybersecurity specialist, and he has so many certifications to his name. He has the CISSP, he has the OCP, which is in progress for him. He has Security Plus, MCT, a lot of certifications. And he likes to describe himself as a cybersecurity professional with over 10 years of experience. And of course, this has been result-driven performance and notable success as a red team and blue team lead. Guys, let's leave that jargon. But trust me, what that means is that he can protect by defending and he can protect by offending. So the guy is badass. He's over time had roles in penetration testing. He knows how to do network and system administration. He's also great with risk advisory, project management, exploit and vulnerability research. So this is a guy to listen to by all means. He's also very well versed in corporate IT security and initiatives. He participates in planning, analyzing security control assessments, and implementing solutions in support of key business objectives. So let us all make welcome in very traditional, rousing applause for Sunday Akibe, who is going to be speaking to us about man-in-the-middle attacks. Welcome, Sunday.
Yeah, good evening, good morning, and good afternoon.
Oh, all of them join.
Okay, I hope you guys won't mind me putting on my, okay, I like to put on my video so that you can see how I actually look. But
please
that's
go
fine.
ahead.
Okay. Okay, I think you stopped at your end.
Oh, okay, so I'm just going to turn it on for you now. Give me a second. Uh-oh. I'm trying to put you on your video, but it's looking like I'm not able to do that. Let me just cancel. Let me stop this share. I think that should do the magic from my end. Stop share. Let's see if I can now. I'll have you put on your video. So I'm just going to make you the host and see if that will help you turn on your video.
Okay, that's fine.
So I think you can turn it on now from your side.
Yes. Okay, so let's go to work. Okay, so once again, good evening, good morning, and good afternoon, irrespective of where you're calling from. Okay, so like she rightly said, my name is Sunday Akigbe, and I'm a cybersecurity consultant. So I have a couple of years of experience, ranging from 15 years in ICT generally, and 10 years in cybersecurity. My mic is muted, if you can hear me. Okay. Can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. It's my own mic that is muted.
Okay.
Yours is not muted, yes.
Okay, that's fine. Okay, so I'm going to walk you through this short presentation, and I know fully well this is not the technical training, so don't be scared. We are not here for knowledge fights, and there is a pleasure for me, to have this opportunity to share my experience. And I'm mostly going to be dwelling on my field experience, not the book experience, so that you guys can also learn from this and also provide solution to some of this discussion relating to social engineering and man in the middle. Okay, just to give you a quick background, social engineering and man in the middle is very huge in cybersecurity. So I've done pen testing for many years, and I can tell you this is my go-to. I really like this aspect of cybersecurity because personally, people that know me very well know my last resort is cracking passwords. Okay, so I just prefer you give it to me. So I don't want to spend, several hours trying to crack a password and all of that. So if you don't give it to me, I simply ask for it. Okay, so there are a couple of ways to do that, and that's why we're here. Okay, so I'm going to
I really like how you put that.
Yeah, sometimes you have to, have to be honest. Okay, I'm actually a CISSP certified in good standing. So what that means is it hasn't expired, so it's still valid. Okay, yeah, obviously this presentation is not about me, but I will just tell you briefly about what I do, and then we get to the actual presentation. I'm a cybersecurity trainer, so I've trained a couple of guys. Okay, I'm not very popular in the industry, but I've been around for a long time. But I'm popular in some cycles, and I'm sure before or by end of the presentation, so maybe you guys will probably get more information about me and what I've done in the past. Okay, I'm also a penetration tester. So what this simply means is sometimes organization commission you, to carry out the pen testing the infrastructure, to see if there's a vulnerability or if there is some certain weakness, like a leftover, that kind of stuff. So when you figure that out, you try to actually penetrate into the system and see what kind of information you can access and what economic value that holds, for the organization. Then you make recommendations on how to fix some of these problems. That's what I do. Then I'm also very passionate about cybercrime, investigation. So I've done a couple of training in this direction for Interpol, the Nigerian Army, Air Force, the National Intelligence Agency, and a host of other law enforcement agencies. Okay. Then most importantly, I'm a threat hunter. So what that means is I honestly don't wait until it becomes a problem. I go hunting for the threats and also provide solution for my clients and find ways around it, educate my students, to show them this is the type of threat that is on the wide. So we need to, put some mitigating strategies in place in order for us not to be a victim of such. Okay, so my agenda is simple. First is to inform you about the cybersecurity. Then most importantly is to, educate you. Then I have a couple of take home for you to empower you with, the knowledge I'm going to share with you today. Now think about this. Today you can't say you are not in one of these desks. Okay, each time I ask my audience, which desk do you belong to? Sometimes they are not honest with their judgment, but you won't blame them because you have to tell them what security means and what insecurity also means. Okay, so that's what we're going to be dwelling on. So I will start building my argument from here. Think about this. I'm sure you guys are familiar with the face on the screen. So if this guy walks into where you are right now and serve you this glass of water, and I'm sure you will be willing Then about this, if this guy brought the same glass you want to set. Okay, so the reason here is perception. And perception is a human weakness in cybersecurity. And that is basically look at just by merely looking at the faces, it makes a lot of sense. Okay, these are innocent kids, but look at what they're thinking. This guy thinks she looks trustworthy, but look at the human weakness, creative vulnerability for social engineering, and even man in the middle to thrive. Because you clearly look at faces. If I take you back to the previous image, obviously, yes, this guy looks very horrible. You don't want to have anything to do with him. But this guy looks very honorable, and you will be happy to get a glass of water from the richest man in Africa. So the difference between these two guys coming to your compound today. Probably you're not looking for someone on the black suit and the white, shirt. You say this guy cannot be the guy, but you're looking for somebody who looks very haggard. Okay, the truth is, in the cybersecurity world, it's a totally different ballgame. Okay, first of all, the hackers are not what you think. Sometimes you see a mask that looks funny, they say that's the bad guy. Because even when I go for pen testing, I can wear different hats. Sometimes I present myself as somebody who is meant to deliver, who works for a career company and needs to deliver a letter. Then I could as well just come as an engineer who needs to fix some electrical parts, okay? Especially when you deal with governments and stuff, they lack extensions and all that. So if you bring a bag of extensions and say, okay, I'm the guy that was commissioned to fix all the bad sockets and give you more extensions in your office, they'll be happy because they actually lack stuff like that. They throw the door open, then get in there, you have access to a couple of stuff, you take your picture. So when you're doing your reports, they will be like, when did you come in? We didn't even know you came here and all of that. Because yes, you were not looking like the guy they know, probably just dressed in a certain way in order to pass a message or to pass some sort of conviction for them to give you access to sensitive areas. Okay, the whole essence of the presentation is to just remind you that the world has changed. It's really changing. Okay, many years ago, for a nation to threaten another nation, they need to have, heavy military artillery, a long-range missile to threaten another nation. But today that has changed. That today, a laptop, even with a broken screen, is as powerful as intercontinental ballistic missile. They can create even more devastation than some of the, huge military weapons around the world. So this is where we are today. So the question is, who are these bad guys that is putting us in these bad situations? What do they do? Okay, first, think about what the hacker does. They have no rules of engagement. Secondly, they have no operational guidelines. What it means is they can attack you during Ramadan on a Christmas day, whether you live in any continent of the world, they don't care. They have no rocket launch pads. Okay, not like you're walking, through a certain street and you see a rocket launch pad. You say, okay, bad guy must be living here. There is nothing like that. So they hide behind their keyboard and launch attack, even against, a developed country. So it's not a case of, okay, we can only attack, a third world nation. No, they attack from everywhere. And most importantly, they have no military training, but they just attack, even without them knowing who you are, but they attack you across the globe. And again, the interesting part is they have no boss. Once they are convinced about the target, they go for it. So it's not a case of I have to take instruction from somebody whether to carry out this attack or not. So this is how bad it is. Now, should we be worried? Well, I honestly can't answer that question for you, but all I can say, whether you care or not, then we should have a concern, especially at this time of, COVID-19, that we are so glued to our piece of technology. We work remotely, and you can almost not do anything outside your house because the offices are shut down. Then you have to go online for most of the shoppings, for most of your, official assignment and engagement and all that. So now I want to throw this question back to you. Think about this. Where have you been the last 10 days? I know it's a difficult question, but I'm going to guide you. Think of the locations you've been to. Obviously, you can remember some of them, but you can also not remember a whole lot of them. Then the discussion you had when you went to those places, you obviously can't remember. Then the people you have contacts with, okay? Now, if you look at all of this, if you try writing down all these questions I've asked you, you are going to obviously miss a whole lot of them. And I'll give you an obvious example. Let's assume you went to a public place, let's say a place like airports, to meet somebody to have some engagement. When you were there, you probably didn't see any other person apart from the person you went to have discussions with. Now, the question is, were you there for business discussion or for personal discussion? It doesn't matter what the discussions are, but what is important is, were you environmentally aware or situationally aware of where you are? In the public places, there are a few things you look out for. For example, if you sit behind a CCTV camera and you're having a discussion, obviously you really have no idea of how many people are participating in that discussion. Like I always say, if you have not visited the CCTV room in your office or where you live and all of that, you have no idea of how many people, hear your conversation, or how many people view your computer screen when you open it and you type in your username and password. Because when you have a CCTV that is remotely, connected to some, other monitoring equipment, until you know the number of people who sit in front of those monitors to watch you, you have no idea of how many people are participating in your discussion. So like I always say, imagine you're in an airport environment, you're meant to catch a flight, and now your flight is being delayed. So what do? You probably want to get yourself busy. Open your laptops, you respond to some official emails, you type a proposal, response to some letters, probably just open and do. But sometimes when you don't pay attention to the environment, what happens is, if there's a CCTV directly zooming into your computer screen, what it means is somebody else is seeing it. It doesn't matter the confidential information you think you're working on. And it also doesn't matter whether there's somebody physically in the room or not. So we need to really pay attention to this, because sometimes you just give stuff out without necessarily knowing. Because I've done a couple of jobs that, you have tried everything, because some organizations have invested in security, they've trained their employees, but it's so difficult for you to get things out of it. But they don't pay attention to CCTV. Some of those CCTV you see, they bear, default password and all that. So if you can compromise one of them, you turn the camera to somebody typing password Monday morning, you can zoom in, pick up the password, zoom into their screen and take a screenshot of what is on their screen and all of that. So this is a whole lot of, information that you don't know you've given out. But the day it becomes a media issue, you ask yourself, I never shared with anybody, but the reality is you have probably shared and all of that. So social engineering has moved from somebody calling you to say, I'm calling from Central Bank of Nigeria, your BVN is having issue, call this number or fill this form and all of that. So hacking has moved from merely using software, calling somebody, to what we call an embedded hacking. So there is a whole lot of tools that you need to watch out for. So I consider this as being situationally aware. But why does it matter in this context? Look at this. Let's say you went into a conference and somehow, somebody brought in a bottle of water. And the first thing you need to know, or that has to go through your mind first of all, quite all right, this is a conference that has been planned and tea has been provided, soft drinks are there, and there will be water. So the person walks in with a bottle of water, and maybe somehow he dropped a bottle of water and he stepped out, and you're there, saying some stuff like, these are guys, they don't like coming to a meeting early and all of that. Most of the time, things are not the way they appear. So some of the tools I use are what I'm showing you. It could just be, a spying device that records your conversation. So it doesn't matter whether it was a phone call, you try to pass a message like you're giving somebody some code, okay, and all of that. You might think the person will not know. If I'm right in front of you and you're calling something like 221 or 212, I have an idea. I can simply tell you 221, that's probably your BVN number. Okay, if it's important to me, I pay attention. So if I hear you saying 212 or some certain number or 000 and certain number, I can easily figure it out and tell you, okay, that's probably a bank, you know, that's an account number of a certain kind of bank. Then also look at this. So these are some of the tricks that you guys fall for without knowing. Okay, this is a charger. Okay, it could be an iPhone and Android charger. So most of you take your phones everywhere, but you really never take your charger with you because you know you see a charger floating somewhere. You just plug your phone. So I have a charger, a very intelligent charger. What it simply does is, you know, if I'm doing a job, for instance, and I really want to get information, say on the secretary desk, or you know these people that you have access to, you drop it on their desk. If you have it, when you take their own and drop your own there, they are certainly going to use it because they will soon run out of charge. This charger you see have the ability to completely image your phone in a space of 2 hours, depending on the memory size of your phone, image everything on your phone, but it's still going to charge your phone for you. So the truth is, you exchange so much for just a little. So the price you're paying just to charge your phone for probably 1 or 2 hours is huge. So I will encourage you, always go with your charger. When you see a charger floating somewhere, sometimes they are not really what you think they are. It could be somebody just needs information and they drop their charger with you, okay, where you can pick them. Now, when we talk about cybersecurity, awareness is very key. But many of the times, I have seen organizations that have done serious awareness, but people don't take it seriously because they feel it's just a perception, it's in people's mind, but it's certainly not a reality. Imagine when you were probably going through your driving school. That was when you were mostly being careful, and you never break the rules because if if you do, you are not getting the license and all of that. At that point in time, you graduated and you now have your license. But the moment after, this is where you found yourself. So the question is why? Is it that you no longer know the rules immediately you got the license and all of that? You see, it's not. When you become competent in stuff, you want to explore. So that is one of the motivation for the bad guys, what hacker does. If there is no rules to break, hacker won't be interested. It's like coming online and say, my platform cannot be hacked. People say, okay, let's see. Okay, let me keep trying and see. I want to prove it wrong. So if you say don't go beyond this point, it's okay. Let me even see if I go beyond this point, whether anybody is going to find it out. And the other point is, when you go beyond that point and nobody discovers you, then you want to really entrench your foothold in that environment just to show that, okay, you are a level, above whatever security measure they have in place. Okay, and the other aspect is, when you go online, most of the time, a lot of people just free this, free that. Okay, it's not a bad idea to look for free stuff, but many of the time, they are not really free. The reason why you think they are free is because you have no opportunity to sit in the round table to discuss how much you're going to pay for that free software you're downloading. It doesn't matter the site, but you need to, there are genuine free software you can access. But I don't see myself going to download Microsoft Windows Update in the Softpedia, platform or another platform. I go to the Microsoft website, I download it from there, but some of you will look for free stuff and this thing is only available in the right source, but it's meant to be paid for, but you go for it. Now, let me share with you what this is about. Sometimes when we want to carry out some certain kind of assignments, what we do, I can craft a backdoor, an evil program, and that evil program, I will disguise it and send it to you as a free antivirus. So you install or you download a file, then there's a free antivirus installed on your system, scans your system, and tells you no virus detected. I know most of you must have seen that. Immediately you install a software, there is a new antivirus. It could be anyone because I don't want to call names. But the point here is that's a fake antivirus. What they simply does is they disable the genuine antivirus you have on your system, create all the vulnerability that will be exploited later. So these are some of the prices you pay for, okay? You pay for downloading free software from the wrong sources. Then the next part you may have also been noticed is, in our environment, people just want to buy new stuff And sometimes there's overhead. The overhead is, if it's too new, you probably don't have the skills and the experience to implement all of this. But what they do, they struggle to just put it up, leave all the default settings. As long as stuff can work, people can connect to internet, they can ping each other, they start enjoying the benefit and pay less attention to what really matters, which is the security aspect of such devices. And some organization wants to buy new stuff, but they are not willing to spend money training the guys who will implement it to have sufficient knowledge to deliver all of it. So all this will create vulnerability. So if your router is exploited, so it's a dead giveaway for the bad guy to redirect your DNS, to a malicious DNS. You will browse quite all right, but it's the direction where your traffic flows that you really don't know. So if you don't have sufficient skills or the tools to monitor the source and destination of how your traffic move back and forth, what that simply means is you're giving so much for less benefits. So when you are investing in IT, what you need to do is to consider the total cost of ownership. The cost of the equipment, the shipping is as important as the cost of training people to have the sufficient skills and experience to manage and even deploy some of these technologies. So some of the vulnerability that these bad guys, exploit is basically, someone deploy a good technology and now they cannot protect it. Think about this. Most times this is what the consultant does. They come with a very fancy proposal with all the, clear value proposition, and it makes a lot of sense. They align it so well with your business objective, with all the justification you can ask for. But the key question I keep asking people, when you engage with people who really don't have experience in technology, in 2 hours, or maybe probably 2 to 5 minutes is enough for you to know that this guy has just gone on Google, maybe a night before that meeting, to just get some shallow information to convince you. It's not a bad thing to buy new technology, but you should ready to also get the right, resources or the right person there to deploy and also manage such technology. It's not a bad idea. This is what they promise you. It becomes more like a priority. Budget has to be made for this. As a matter of fact, you can even step down some other investments just to get this technology to fix some certain business challenges. But look at this. Okay, this is exactly what they are going to give you. Not because the technology is bad or is in bad shape, but it's because the guy deploying it is probably seeing that thing for the first time. They really don't have the sufficient skills. And another thing I keep telling people is it's not about the size of building or how long the consultant has been in business and all of that. Focus on the personnel. And again, it's not even about certification. That's why you see I hardly put those things behind my name. It's not really what I focus on. My job is to do my job. Okay, not to display those list of alphabet behind my name. So if you don't have the hands-on skill, okay, to be able to deliver and align technology to the business objective, then there's no point investing in them. That is why you may have noticed, maybe some of the banks will tell you we're upgrading our system in the money. And by that time, or even before that time, maybe they have 4 ATM machines and 3 of them are working. They will tell you by evening we should have finished our upgrading, or maybe in 2 or 3 days. But by the time you come back, when the upgrade is done, it's quite only one that is working. So the question you keep asking yourself, does upgrade mean the opposite? And the truth is, they are struggling with it. They have the technology, but they can't deploy it to work efficiently. So the moment they invest, the value will continue to drop. So that's one of the big challenges in ICT. And all of these have more like, the downside. That's the price you're going to pay because you have the skills that are required to manage such equipment. Okay, and look at my screen. If you look at what I have, people generally want to believe that, okay, username and password is sufficient to protect against all manner of security threats. It's a good thing to have a password, but the question is, a lot of people tell you good password, bad password, and all of that. For any of these attack, social engineering, or man in the middle to succeed, there is always the motivation. The motivation is they need your credentials. Okay, hackers really are not after your machine per se. They are after you as a person. Okay, like we keep saying, if you can't get the computer, then get the person sitting in front of a computer. And I will explain. Imagine you've been my friend for 20 years, okay, childhood friends, we've been together. But you see, if your system is right in my front and it's asking me for username and passwords, all the computer wants, give me the right username and the right password. That is it. So even if I beg the computer to say, don't you know he's my friend? We've been a friend for 20 years. The computer doesn't care. But think about this. If I can't get the computer and I told you, guy, please, I have a deadline to meet. I need to quickly submit my CV and the deadline is in 2 hours or 1 hour. It doesn't matter how busy you are. Give me 5 minutes. I just change the date and upload my CV. I'm sure you'll be willing to do that. This is what your computer cannot do, but this is what you're going to do. But that can be a cover-up for a social engineering attack. So the moment you execute that document or whatever, your system is gone. And when your system is gone, you don't know what the person has probably taken, because even you have no knowledge of what is on your computer. So like I say, if you have used your computer for at least 6 months, then the computer probably know you more than you know yourself. Think about the number of passwords that are stored in your browser. Okay, the last time I checked, I probably have close to 32 sites and links I visit frequently. Can't remember all the password, but what I do, I try not to repeat password as much as I can, and I'm going to show you how you can also achieve that. But the interesting thing is, if somebody can get those 32 passwords out of your system, he's not only hacking your system, he has even gone beyond your system. He has sort of established what we call a foothold in the environment. He can have access to your email, which is not even a corporate email, probably have access to other banking platforms and other external resources you use online. Okay, now the question is, what is social engineering? Social engineering is basically tricking somebody to divulge sensitive information. And what could that be? It could just be a phone call. Hello, sir, I'm this person. Oga is in the conference. Can you please reset Oga's password? He can't log in and blah, blah, blah. His phone is switched off. Reset and send to this number. You just drop a number there. Now, if the ICT departments are not properly trained, all they are going to do is probably to reset it and send the password. But you, the bad guy, are probably done your homework to know that the guy is going for a conference and all of that. Because hackers are not people who just break into places. They take their time, they observe the environment, gather intelligence, and they analyze this information very carefully, because you probably may have just one chance to launch your attack. So it has to be precisionally guided. So sometimes you will probably not succeed, but many of the time, as long as the human factor is there, you're likely going to succeed. Now, let me give you a scenario to this. Think of a guy who lives in a very large compound. So he feels that if I live alone in this large compound, and I probably don't have the strength to always go around the compounds and all of that. So all I need to do is probably to get motion detector or smoke detector, those technology you put in your home, so that when there's a movement, it should probably alert me that there's a movement. If it's an intruder, then I know how to position myself before it becomes an issue for me. The guy bought a motion detector, and the guy has a cat. Each time the cat moves, this alarm will just alert him that there's a movement in the compound. So he comes out to see that it's the cat. Do you know what the guy did? He said, okay, he brought down the equipment and reconfigured it and said, anything below 2 feet, please don't alert me. It's probably my cat. Fine. But when the bad guys came, they didn't just, intrude. They took their time, they gathered information, they saw a cat was moving freely and nobody was paying attention. So they decided to lie on the floor, and they were below 2 feet. They crawled into the compound. And this technology did not alert these guys. So same thing that will happen when you deploy technology without really doing the right thing. Okay, you buy because they are shiny bosses, or because your neighbor has just told you this is what we're using and these are the latest technology available. But sincerely, that's not how things work. Okay, so if you don't follow the laid down rule, the best practices, then you're probably doing the wrong thing. Now, think about this guy. Okay, somebody dressed like this guy and told you I'm an electrician, I was meant to fix a socket in your room and stuff like that. This doesn't work everywhere. If it's a private organization, you might struggle with it, but if it's a government institution, yeah, they always have bad sockets and they want to change it. They throw the door open. But the interesting thing is people really don't pay attention. You just trust you, that guy is an electrician, so you have no knowledge of computer. So they leave their screen open right in front of you, or they don't even pay attention to you. But they don't know anybody could be that. That could be me. That could be, if I'm on assignment, I go the extra mile. to find my way and get into sensitive environment, probably just take pictures and stuff like that. And another thing is, some of you that work in the public sector, you should also take this message back home. Many of the time, you drop key with the security guys at the gate, and some of these guys have no knowledge of what you do. They have no knowledge. They don't know how sensitive your environment is. You send your staff for training, but you never train this guy until you let them know this is what we do here. They cannot take full ownership of the protection. Okay, in a couple of times, you go to this organization on a weekend, you tell them, I'm the guy to fumigate the compound, and I was commissioned by the ES or the DG or the MD. This guy has never spoken with MD before. All they need to see you dialing a number called the MD of whatever organization. Okay, hello sir, I'm at the gate. The security is not allowing me. Okay, give it to them. You give it to them. Who am I speaking with? It's okay, my name is this person. My name is Musa or Shegun. Okay, Shegun, please open the data center in my office. Let them fumigate it and stuff. But you see, the truth is, on a weekend, you always have fewer of these guys at the gates. Okay, it could be maybe 2 or 3. So they don't have sufficient men to attach to you, to get into these places. They just go there, throw the door open, and they go back to their own duty post. Then you can do whatever you need to do. And remember, when you have physical access to an equipment, you have options. If you can't get in, you break it. If you can't break it, you steal it. So this is what the bad guys look at. But in situations whereby, okay, he wants to stick with you, fine. These guys are not well paid and they're always hungry. You just tell the guy, please go and get lunch for all of us. Just throw the guy 2 or 3K. The guy will rush out to buy lunch for everybody. By the time he comes back, you've done your job and all of that. So when you're done, just tell the other guy, I can't wait till I'm done. I'm rushing to somewhere, so you guys can eat the food. Now you've gone. Maybe that job you probably been paid 2 million. So what's 3K to give to the guy to buy lunch, and you have a good report that you're able to access some sensitive places. So my advice here is, when you train your staff, also train these guys. Social engineering comes in different forms. Don't always think of technology. Think of the human factors to social engineering. Now, let me talk about what man-in-the-middle attack is. It's basically when you have a third party, an uninvited guest intercepting your communication. This is not a very complex scenario. It's a very common type of attack. So the point is, you just browse innocently, access the server and stuff. But you see, let's say you don't have a strong password on your Wi-Fi devices or maybe on your router. So what it means is, yeah, some people will just basically crack the password and they feel good about it. But for some of us who wants to really entrench our foothold and probably get some, very serious information to prove to you that you guys are not near where you should be or where you think you want to be. We just redirect the traffic to our devices. Yes, you can pay for internet and all of that. The point is, if you route all your traffic through my system, I have a lot of option on whether to wire sniff it or whether to even redirect it to an evil website, okay, what we call the drive-by downloads. Anytime you sense a download, we have opportunity of attaching an evil program to it. So once you execute, we have a share and all of that. And this is very huge. It doesn't matter the size of organization. Once you're compromised, you're compromised. I've done some jobs whereby, my target was basically to target the update server because, the scope of the job was so extensive that you have to touch every system. So imagine you probably have up to 500 systems to see what you can do. So the point is, you have to look for a central point like the update server. So in a place where your network is centralized and you have a central machine, that approve and updates every other client, you go for that guy. It's like the boss. You go there and put in an evil program as an update and force the machine to approve it. You now push it down to the client. So in 5 minutes, you compromise 500 computers and all of that. So all of this happen because the point is, you tend to think that the IT departments are people who are just way up there, but many of the time is far from it, okay? And I can tell you, some organizations have invested, but the point is, they've not invested sufficiently in training. Those that have invested in training, they have no mechanism to check whether this guy go to training to learn or go to training just to do the shopping and all of that. But when you entrust them with sensitive infrastructures, then you tend to lose a whole lot, okay? Because of my closeness with some of the law enforcement agencies, sometimes you see some situations and you just marvel, like, okay, is this still possible? But nothing surprises me anymore as long as we are within this environment. because I've seen situations. In fact, I've personally reported some organization that, you might just be looking for something else. You just stumble on the website and you'll be so marveled. In fact, presently there's an organization that is an embarrassment. During the COVID-19, so I was using my spare time to just do some random stuff, stop some attacks that are within my capacity to do, especially those that won't cost me money. Sometimes you stumble on some site and you see that even their entire database is publicly available, and they don't know. They have IT department, they have technical guys who have no clue on what to do. Presently, there is an organization, okay, that have more than 300,000 members. And these 300,000 members, you can access all their data, log in to all their accounts. In fact, as a matter of fact, to tell you how bad it was, I had to log into the president's account and one of the governors, and I sent the screenshot to this guy. I said, this is huge. In fact, this is the worst I've seen in my 15 years, a career in ICT. Guys, fix this, is bad. I sent him a WhatsApp screenshot. I sent him a link and even give a guidelines on what they should look out for. Not for money, just do it. If you have a problem, contact me. I will guide the technical guys to do it for you. You don't have to pay anybody. And I took my phone, I called these guys so that you won't feel it's some of these random guys that are trying to make money from there. See, I sent you this, look at it, closely. But the truth is, till today, nothing happened. So I was now forced to send the same link to my contact in NIDA and the Interpol and say, these are the guys who causes you an embarrassment. Okay, somebody will just extract those information. I used to perpetrate cybercrime. Then before you know it, it will not be a case of Nigerians are always doing it. But you don't do. Some of these agencies, they have no capacity to protect what they collect. They take your information without protecting it appropriately. But you are on your own end, you're being very careful on the site you go to, the things you touch online and all of that. But whereas some agency that you should be trusted, I'm not even saying government agencies, I'm even saying some private organization does this a whole lot. It's huge and it's bad. So we should be asking questions. What type of technology do you use? Who are the guys protecting this? Let's have an idea. You need to tell me, I have right to know where you're keeping my information and the mechanism you have in place. And the guys who are presenting this, let me even have an idea whether they have sufficient skills. That's why you go everywhere, they ask you, give here, they ask you this. You'll be wondering, you already have this information, you keep asking, are those pieces of paper where you keep writing this number? Nobody will ever tell you how they manage them. They will tell you we have a shredder, from here we trade into the shredder. It doesn't make sense to me, because I work in an organization whereby, they have shredding machines, they've invested, but the problem is, when you print out a document you don't need, like a confidential document, and you're supposed to shred it immediately, they drop it on the table until probably when they want to create, that's when they shred it. Somebody can walk in and just take a snap of it. As a matter of fact, I'm very good with cameras. It doesn't matter how far you are from me. If I see your ID card, I zoom and I snap. Okay, so some of these things happens. They don't back it up with a sufficient policy and even with monitoring mechanism in place, and there's no penalty. So people just have shredding machine. They use it once in a while. They still squeeze piece of paper and stuff. Okay, and each time you tell them, okay, you have to practice this certain type of policy, clear desk, clean desk. They practice clear desk quite all right, take all the papers, but they don't practice clean desk. They still write on their desk and they will leave it there. Okay, so the motivation for man in the middle, they are not just probably, attacking you in order, just to test whether your security is sufficient or not. They probably want some, juicy information like your credit card numbers. They want your login credentials, and it could be you just want to have access to your conversation, have an idea of what you're discussing or what you're probably doing online. So these are some of the key motivations. And okay, some of the techniques you can probably use, to prevent against this will be, sometimes you monitor your web traffic, okay? But the question is, if you're not an IT person, how do you do that? Then you probably avoid some of the sites you go to when you're in a public Wi-Fi environment, okay? It doesn't matter whether it's a government organization, whether it's at the airport or in the hotel and stuff. So there are certain sites you shouldn't visit, because those Wi-Fi's or those network or hotspot are not within your control, and you have no idea of how they route your traffic and all of that. But the most important thing you need to do is to educate either your employee or even yourself. Because if you really don't know what to do, there's no amount of technology in place that can help you, to mitigate against all of this. So if they say, have a good password, then have a good password. Make sure your password at least is reasonably, complex to understand that somebody won't just wake up in 5 minutes, they already have your password and so. And secondly, pay attention to when you don't see that padlock sign. If it's not HTTPS, then you need to be very mindful of the type of information you divulge on such sites. So if you're filling the form online and you're not seeing the HTTPS padlock or sign, simply means that, okay, that traffic can be wire sniffed and they have access to those information you're providing, okay? But the most important aspect here is to be very conscious. People like free Wi-Fi, free this and free that, okay? When you are on the free or a public Wi-Fi, you need to be mindful. There are things you don't do. There are sites you don't go to. The information you don't divulge. Pay attention and invest in a good antivirus. What I mean by that is a lot of systems, even servers don't run antivirus. A whole lot of them, they just deploy and they are fine with it. But this is a huge vulnerability that people take for granted. People just naturally leave their own AV. The disadvantage of leaving the antivirus, that comes with the operating system is, everybody knows that your system, if you're running this version of system, okay, this version of operating system, there's probably this type of antivirus. So scripts have been developed. I have a whole lot of them that I can send, you execute, just disable your AV and your virus, because we really know the registry file where those configurations are stored. So the moment it's disabled, then you become vulnerable. And what that means is, you just carry the system, but we're using it on your behalf. Okay, then you also need to pay attention to certificate warning. Yeah, I know some of us like to discard symptoms. What's anything prompt on your screen, except if there's no options, to cancel or continue anyway. Once it's there, people don't read anything, just click continue. But sometimes it's always good to just spare maybe 1 minute or even half a minute to read the warning. If they tell you this site is probably not secure and all of that, and that you want to continue anyway, no, you have to have a rethink. If it's a place where you need to fill a form and divulge your personal information, then that is not the best place to put in those informations. Okay, I'm going to walk you through some demo, and okay, in case we encounter some challenges, but you need to know I didn't create the operating system and all of that. So we
awesome. Thank you very much.
Okay, we blame the computer. Okay. Okay. I probably will also give you some take home for those of you who couldn't follow me, but I'll tell you in different scenarios that I've just explained what you need to do and all of that. But I don't know whether I still have time. I'm a very bad time manager, so you guys should forgive me. Can I still have
We're
5
out of
minutes?
time, but this is an amazing part of the event, and I'm sure a lot of us are looking forward to it. So we are going to wait, guys. Please wait and see this.
Okay. Okay, should I go for the take home or the bit of demo?
The demo, the show and tell.
Okay, so let me share my full desktop this time. I think my VM has gone to sleep. Just a moment, let me get them back up. Okay, so while I'm refreshing these guys to come up, so let me just walk you quickly through the
take home. Sure.
The take home. Okay, I'm going back to the slide. Okay, so some of the take home, so I'm just going to be very fast here. Amount of time. First of all, when you're buying a phone, yeah, it's good to have a discount and all of that, but you need to pay attention, especially when you travel to some certain countries. Some of those phones that are cheap, okay, that you get huge discounts, probably are owned by some government spy agents and stuff. They've been compromised, they sniff your information and they store it. Remember, the cheapest way to get information is to spy. Nobody wants to spend money, invest money, using drone to gather intelligence. So if I can hear hello, hello from the other end, it's cheaper for me. So mind where you get your stuff. Always remember you need to do a factory reset when you buy a new device. It doesn't matter whether it's iPhone or Android. Then Always check your memory card or replace it. Most of you know your SIM card, but you never really taking time to know your memory card. Let me tell you, some of the attack is, your memory card can be swapped and somehow your phone is compromised, but you will never know. Okay, avoid unnecessary app installation. It's not everything that pops up on your screen that makes sense to you. An example, you download the touch application just to put on light and put it off, and it's 30 MB. Honestly, I will not install that. Okay, it's not the hardware, but it's just a simple software. It shouldn't be up to 30 MB. So you'll be mindful of such application. Keep your device up to date, but from the right source. Mind where you buy your stuff. Somebody can bring a good deal for you, and that phone has a spyware running. And you get a good deal, you put in your SIM card, and you start paying by exchanging your private information. Suspect that your device is a spy device. If you can avoid taking it to certain places, please do. Okay, and most importantly, keep it within sight. Don't plug your phone to somebody's computer because there's a USB connected. It's like giving up 50% of your protections on those devices. Then, those of you who travels a lot, when you get to a hotel, a new location, the best person to ask which Wi-Fi do I connect to is the receptionist. Don't go there because you're lodged in a certain hotel. You start looking for the Wi-Fi that bears the name of the hotel. Because you've paid money, you want to enjoy the benefit. It's not a good way. Ask. If they tell you, connect to the first floor, try and connect. If you can't connect, come back. It's running slowly, or I can't connect. Don't try to connect to second or third floor because it might be an evil twin. Be conscious of your browsing. Yes, you go to some places, they ask you your means of identification. Assuming you're a military guy and you don't want them to know, you don't throw your ID card. If I'm not putting on uniform and I want to disguise, so the best document for authentication is your international passport, not your ID card, because your ID card is a dead giveaway. So it's giving out already half of your protection. Okay, always suspect that you are being watched in places like that because you have no idea who manages the Wi-Fi, what runs behind the scene. Pay attention. Then secondly, always connect to the exact Wi-Fi. If it's Wi-Fi 1, that's what you connect to. Don't try Wi-Fi 2 because the bar seems stronger on where you live or on the location where you are. Okay, limit your internet usage, hide your identity properly if that works for you. Okay, whenever somebody gives you a gift, birthday gift and stuff like that, I'm not saying reject it, but there are basic rules. Okay, if you can throw away the memory card, that's fine. If you can't, do factory resetting. But I believe you can buy a device, then the memory card won't be an issue. Pay attention. Questions every electronic device that comes your way. Then, if you stay in the hotel and you're hiding your identity, so there's no point waking up early in the morning, going to the business center within the same premises to print your official documents. If I don't want you to know where I work, then why should I print a document that has my company logos, address, and everything? If they need information from you, when you're checking out of the hotel, they are going to give you some device like, okay, we just want to appreciate you for coming. But the truth is, that device have a spyware inside because they know who you are. They know they can get some certain kind of information from you. Okay? And remember, for every 131 email you receive, one of them carries malware. Okay? Pay attention to where the email originates from. It doesn't matter whether it's your boss that sent it. Every email address can be spoofed. Every telephone number can be spoofed. So double check, confirm. This is not out of place to call your boss. I've seen your mail. Give me a moment. I'm responding. Or I'm currently working on the response to your email, just to validate the mail originated from him. Okay. You have to avoid opening unsolicited email attachment and links because this is like a dead giveaway. So these are some of the weaknesses that the hackers exploit. So be conscious of every email you receive. Don't always assume. Authenticate and validate before you respond. Don't click on reply, or if you have the email already, type it. If you click on reply, or what it means is if that email was spoofed, then you are responding to the spoofed email. But when you type the email address that you know, what it means is going to the right source. Okay, use a callback for every emails you receive, especially when you're sending sensitive information. I've received your mail, I will respond in 5 minutes. Let the person confirm he or she sent you email. Split sensitive email. Okay, it doesn't make sense to send 20-page document on a single mail, or you're sending username and password on the same email. No. What I do, I can send you, this is my email address, then test you the password. But in places where I don't have access to a phone, all I do, I send you a link, This is my email address. Then I sent you another email with the password without necessarily saying this is the password. This is a number. Then the email subject has to be different from the first one. So always, type your destination email address as against clicking on reply all and that kind of thing. So it make a whole lot of sense. So these are your general take home. One, there must be a procedure for connecting to your corporate network. Somebody goes on leave for 1 month and is coming back. All you need to do, there are processes to go through. Because we don't know where you've been the last 1 month. We don't know the Wi-Fi you've connected to. Go to the ICT department. There are procedures. They have to check whether your phone needs some sort of, security, updates before they connect you to the corporate network. Okay. Make sure you have what they call you have a program like quarterly or maybe annually cybersecurity awareness campaign, but an ongoing effort to keep reminding the user that there are new threats. These are the tips and tricks on how to go about it. So always let your consultants know coming to work for you. Security matters to us most. Don't give us default password, and every password must be between 12 or 8 and 12 characters, and it must meet this level of complexity. Don't name your Wi-Fi like, okay, MGMFM HQ. It's a dead giveaway. MD floor, ES office. It doesn't make sense. Yes, those numbers are not for external consumption. Those numbers are for internal consumption. If I say, okay, Wi-Fi 123 ABCs for first floor, the people who works in that department knows the Wi-Fi. But when you put it MD's floor, ES office, then it's a bad practice. Always check your source of connections. Okay, people just go to office through their laptop, open their browsing, they assume is office, Wi-Fi that I'm currently connected to, which is a very bad practice. And have a good password. If you can't remember complex password like the password at 123, it's not a bad idea. Then have a long password that at least exceed 14 to 15 characters. You also stand a good chance of having a good password like I love Chinese pizza. That makes sense. Then enlighten your immediate cycle, like your family, friends, and colleagues. But when they are compromised, you are compromised by extension, because there's what we call pseudo attack or pseudo information gathering. If you are the type that is being careful, you don't give so much information. I look for a friend you trust who is lousy. I use that guy to get to you. So this information is not for your consumption, but your immediate cycle. Okay, so for organization, you need to build capability to fight this battle. Okay, you need to be more intentional. It's not saying it, have a roadmap and be committed to it for a very long time. Okay, even if you don't meet all the objective, at least if you can meet 8 out of 10, then you have moved from where you used to be to a new, level. Then plan with the futures in mind. Don't buy technology for today's consumption. Buy technology for the organization posterity. Build a coalition with a team of experts, just like we're doing now. Attend workshops, seminar, talk to experts, what is going on. Subscribe to some sites where you get regular updates on what is going on. So you stand a very good chance of not getting into bad situation. So the best time is now. Start now. So I'm just going to close my presentation by saying firewall is good, but building human wall along with firewall is the best way to go as far as ICT is concerned. Okay, this is probably the end of my presentation, and let me get back to the demo. I think when virtual machine is freezing out. Um, that's interesting. Okay, so my virtual machine is probably not happy with me. Okay, just for your a little take home, let me share with
Okay,
you.
so
Since my
maybe we can answer the questions.
okay, go ahead, please.
Yes, so I think we can go with the questions. So we round off. Maybe we can plan something with you for us to do a recorded show and tell, something like that, so people can see
Okay,
this.
that's fine. Okay,
Yeah.
that's fine. Okay,
Okay, so some questions have come through. I think because of time, I'm just going to go on with questions here first before I take my own.
okay,
Someone is asking here if HTTPS is unhackable.
okay. HTTPS or HTTPS if it's
Yes,
unhackable.
yes.
Okay. I think my direct answer to that question is not at all. Every system is hackable, so it depends on what we call the work factor, what is required to hack. Doesn't provide sufficient security as they made us to believe. So there are several ways to get around it. It's not hackable. It's not unhackable. It's hackable.
Okay, great. But it's literally it's not it's a measure that we should all look out for. It's better than nothing. Is that what you're also saying?
Yeah, it's better than nothing. Remember, we have HTTPS now. We now have what they call HSTS, which is a little better than
Excellent.
HTTP because you can step down HTTPS to become HTTP and still carry out your sniffing and all of that. Okay, but HTTPS is a little bit difficult because the browser actually handles this information. For example,
Uh-huh.
if you type in facebook.com, maybe on Google, so the Facebook will actually load, but it comes back with HTTPS.
Uh-huh.
What is simply is not what you're seeing there is not really HTTPS per se, but it's actually HSTS, which is even the latest technology that rely on the the manual configuration of the browser. So they have those popular sites already stored in the browser. Even when you try to step it down, in fact it's difficult, even though there are some ways about it. So most of the sites you visit, you see HTTPS, they are not actually HTTPS per se, they are actually HSTS. So
Okay.
it's better than HTTP.
Okay. Also, I wanted to check with someone has asked here if you would advise using free VPN, especially when it is attached to a said browser as an extension.
Okay. Yeah, free HTTPS is good, but the truth is, if it's for an enterprise, I always suggest you go for the commercial because free tools most of the time doesn't have what is required to run a modern day organization. There are open source, but even those open source, they tell you if you want to really enjoy the benefit of this technology, you have to subscribe to some sort of training or consultancy. So if it
Okay.
is free, then it's not probably fit. Okay, but it's not in all situations, but it's not fit for an enterprise environment, in my opinion.
Okay, great. So Sandra is asking, are there laws governing data security in Nigeria? This is in line with your professional experience.
Okay, yeah, obviously there are a lot of laws, like we now have data privacy law. In fact, there is a whole lot of them in it that, and I think NIDA has done a lot in the last few years, actually, to be honest. But now, the industry is regulated, even though implementation is still an issue, but there is a very good effort, going on that you could actually report some organizations who are not doing the right thing, and they have sanctioned a couple of organizations. So there are local laws that have been domesticated in Nigeria that govern the industry.
Okay, great. Stephen is asking, is there any danger while streaming live TV shows? Because I noticed we use HTTP for that.
Yeah, the truth is, it doesn't matter. Okay, think about it. If I'm a bad guy and I set up a site and I have all the HTTPS in place, but the whole idea behind it is for malicious reasons, then it's probably an issue. So, the question should be, are you accessing this TV from the right sources? You understand?
Mm-hmm.
Because most time it's like downloading Microsoft software, from another site that is not Microsoft. So we don't know what has happened, whether the integrity of those information or solution has been compromised. So it makes you vulnerable. So if you are the right source and it's an organization that have credibility, then it's probably a good thing to do.
Okay, so I just saw something now from Megan. Megan asked a very interesting question. She says a court in South Africa early this month dealt with a cyber case. It was a bank identity fraud and had attributed liability to the financial institution. Legally, who should bear responsibility to a cybersecurity mistake?
Okay, the much I know, in cybersecurity, we look at it from two contexts. We have what they call data controller and data processor. Data controller is the guy who interfaces with you that collected your information for maybe for a reason to open a bank account or probably to carry out or offer some services. Now, if information is compromised, do I know who processed it? For example, I go to my bank, if my money is deducted, you understand, they collected my information. I sue my bank. So it's the responsibility of my bank to also sue the person who processed information on their behalf. So who should be held liable is the person who collected the information or the organization. So they are the data controller. Those are the people you interface with. The processors at the back end, which you don't know.
Okay, so I saw an interesting comment here from someone. I don't know if it's a question, but it's interesting, and I want us to just try to answer it. He says that the issue with using different password is that you end up forgetting all. I prefer using same password. So what are your comments to that? Because for me, that's a big issue for generally across the world. That's the reason why we have so many hacked accounts, because once one is compromised, most people know, most hackers know that that's used across board. So what can you say to this person?
Yes, okay, that's a very good question. To answer your question, when you go for some certain training, they tell you have a complex password, but they don't also tell you how do you remember. What I emphasize is it's good to have a good password, but if you have a good password and you can't remember, then it's bad enough. Let me just show you what you need to do. Think about this. Let's say you have 3 email accounts and they say no 2 email bears the same password. Are you following? All you need to do, create a formula as a great creating complex password. Now, if I'm on Google, I just pick G as the first capital, as a capital letter, the first character. Then I replace whatever comes after. Then I go for the next one. I replace the next one. Then I go for L. Then I replace the next one. Maybe I just add some numbers to it. If I had typed this without you being here, you say the password is too complex and you can't remember, right? Now, if you follow that same formula in your Yahoo platform, you pick the first letter, you replace the next one, you pick the next one, then you replace the one that comes after, you pick, then this is your Yahoo password. Are you following? So it doesn't matter. So it doesn't matter how many accounts you have. Your corporate email, Brain Tech, take B, then you place the next character, then you pick, you replace the next one, then you go for the next one, you replace, then you have C, then you replace. So for me, focusing on the formula for creating complex password is better than creating a password you can't remember, because there will always be this temptation to write it down. When you do that, you're violating the clear desk or the clean desk policy. Okay, so I hope this answered the question rightly.
Yes, so let's move on to the next question. What's your advice on torrents as agents of malware? If so, how can one infect systems with ransomware?
Okay.
I think this is sort of like the last part of the question might be mid-whacked, but I hope you understand the question.
Very well. Okay, now think about torrent. It's a sharing platform where you go and download people's informations, without actually paying the price for them. So the truth is, there's even a malicious intention behind the idea. Okay, so the person who set it up, what do you pay to the person? How do they make money? How are they sustaining the platform? So the question you should be asking yourself is, what do I really exchange for this? What are those things that I did not sit on the round table to negotiate? So that's not the best place to go. So if you need a solution or you need a Udemy course, Torrent is not the best place to go. You go to Udemy. You need a Microsoft software, you don't go to Torrent, you go to Microsoft to get the software. So for me, Torrent is a bad place to be.
Okay, so the next question here is there any way to find a link attached in email Is there any way to find out the link attached in an email is malicious? This person has not been in our previous webinar because we shared this information. There's also a replay video for you to watch. So please go to our YouTube channel just to save time. Go to our YouTube channel and then check out our Hood of Chat series, the previous, the immediate past one, and you're going to get to see that. Sorry, the Hood of Chat series 5. That one had all of the answers you need. There's a practical show there. But what would you like to just throw in there quickly if you were to say a line about how to find out if an email has a malicious attachment or the link is malicious?
Okay, yes. The first thing you need to do, just beware of any link that has been shortened. Those links where you see something like, maybe you could see something like a bit.ly, bit.do / some funny characters and stuff. Those sites obviously have been shortened. So the question is, why are those sites shortened? Always move your mouse or your pointer close to the link and look at the hints, because it's going to tell you what is lying behind those links you see. Before you click, observe. If you're not sure of the link, it's always good to access such information in a system that is completely isolated from the corporate network or from where you have your sensitive information. So if the source is not right, then the link is probably malicious.
Okay, so someone is also asking that she learned that password managers can also be hacked. If this is a valid point, how can you ensure the password manager you are using is always secure?
Okay, one of the weakest part of encryption is if encryption shows a pattern, you can study it by way of analyzing it and be able to generate something similar. Okay, if you are using the password software, I know the pattern they use in generating software, password. I can also understudy that and learn the pattern, for instance. So there is a possibility that I can easily guess your password because I know the software isn't to generate it. Even though sometimes, yeah, they might be very random, but we don't know the extent of randomness. Okay, so which, in my opinion, you need to learn how to create a formula to create a complex password than relying on tools, because the tools have their weakness. The people who create them only have done their best to the extent of their capability by way of their environment, what they are exposed to, their level of skill and experience, which may not be sufficient in the environment where you use them. So learn how to get deep down, go to the back end and fix things yourself. If it's too simple, then a lot is being hidden.
Okay, I just want to add to that by saying that it's also a very good idea to turn on another level of authentication. So you have on all of your important accounts, it's important to turn on 2FA. So if your password, for example, is breached or if it's hacked, you have some other level of authentication. Again, there has to be an added level of difficulty for whoever is trying to have access to the information they are not authorized to have access to. That's something else you might want to bear in mind. Someone else is asking, I will have to skip Sandra's second question because of time. Someone else is asking about, okay, what you have to say about password managers. That's been answered already. Our YouTube channel is, just do a search of No Go for MAGA on YouTube. I'm going to paste the link here really quickly. Let's see. Kamal is asking, will there be time to will there be a time where we can eradicate authentication or go passwordless so that there won't be anything to protect or spy on?
Can you say that again, please?
So he's asking when we become passwordless. Is there a time? Is that something in the near future that's in the works in terms of technology? I mean, as authentication.
Okay, password as authentication. Yeah, obviously we have other alternative.
So like, will it be phased out? I think that's his question. Do you think it's going to be phased out at some point?
Well, I'm not certain about that, but all I can say, technology is changing. So maybe in the nearest future, there may be something much more better than the password. Maybe at that time, then password may be, probably out of place. But as it stands now, password is still one of the authentication mechanisms we know, even though it's not advisable to use only password. That's why we emphasize on what we call defense in depth. Have a password, let your device be within sight. You understand? And put other mechanisms in place. If possible, encrypt your hard drive. Every sensitive document should have their own encryption before you even attach to a mail. It doesn't matter if your mail is compromised, the document should not just be a dead giveaway. So when you have these multiple channels of protection, then it's fine. That's why we say multi-factor, what you have and what you know, or probably what you are in addition, will give you some
Exactly.
sufficient protection.
So the last question we're going to take is, how can I know if my phone is spied on? You mentioned resetting every new device purchased.
Yes. So because of time, I will just give you maybe 3 symptoms or key parameters. For example, think about this. You called me on phone and we're having a conversation. Then the next thing you're hearing a car horn or you're hearing some background noise. And you ask me, say, guy, where you are is so noisy. I'll say, no, I'm in the room. Maybe it's probably at your end. You say, no, I'm also in the room. So that means there's probably a third person somewhere who spies on our, conversation that is not talking and we have no idea. Then the second part is, which may be very difficult to detect, is it drains your battery and eat up your data, because the whole essence of spyware is to copy your phone log, record all the activities on your phone, and upload it to an online server. Think about this. Your phone is fully charged as of now, and you just left it. By the time you wake up in the morning, the battery is, in fact, has gone off already, or your data that you just bought yesterday has drained. Then you should ask questions. So you should be very curious. Then an obvious one again, okay, from all the experience that I performed, sometimes you just wake up and you see an SMS that looks funny with some funny characters. So I don't know whether you've probably seen stuff like this as an SMS drops on your phone. Okay, sometimes when you try to issue remote, instruction to some of these spywares, because of the time to leave, if your phone is out of network or the internet is not available at that time, so by the time it drops, the message has lost, some sort of, a lifeline. So it now drops as a funny character on your phone. And sometimes you just probably conclude it's the network and stuff like that. So these are, some of the symptoms that your phone is being compromised. But most importantly, when you suspect your device is being compromised or is being spied on, back up your data, reset it to factory setting, and restore it back.
Okay, so I think so that's about how much we can take in terms of questions. I'm sorry, guys, we can't take more than this. Thank you so much, Sunday. We hope to have you back sometime soon, because this was such an amazing time with you. You shared quite a lot from your heart and in very simplified manner. We really appreciate you for that. Thank you so much for taking out your time to answer the questions that have been presented. We deeply appreciate that. Thank you very much, everyone, for coming and joining us today. Please just go ahead, share your reviews on social media, on your LinkedIn, and just tag us and let's see, share your appreciation for Mr. Kibe taking out time to just share with us, and just tag him too on LinkedIn, and just share about your experiences and your learnings from here. We really like to read from you. It's always a delight. Till next week on another edition of Food of Chat series. Bye for now.